Golf, baseball, softball, fitness, soccer, you name it, Play It Again Sports in Grand Island has got it. Stop by to buy, sell, or trade used fitness equipment. Trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
Welcome to End Zone Online. I'm George Ayoub with my buddy Bobby Mills, the 1,000-yard guy. We're at Grand Island Northwest High School, home of the Vikings. We'll be here Friday night live streaming the Vikings versus Scotts Bluff. That game starts at 6 o'clock. We'll be on the air at 5:45. We're going to talk a little high school football from the last weekend. And Grand Island Senior High, a game that we live streamed, really dominated Kearney on Friday night.
How about that? I had to mention them in my players of the week. The entire defense, you know. It had to be a dominating performance and a sweet, sweet thing for that football team.
And it was a good call on your part. They played well, but they tackled in space as well as I've seen a high school team tackle. And very aggressive the entire game. Good game plan all the way around. And 152 yards. If you hold a team to 150, you divide that by 4. There wasn't much going on.
There wasn't, no. And 8 first downs the entire game. 8 first downs, right.
Kearney really struggled, and just a great offensive effort. 26-0 the final there. The Islanders are going to host Fremont, who come in. They're 3-2 on the season. They throw the ball.
They do.
And got a nice arm at quarterback. So it'll be a little different look that the Islanders have seen this year. Probably comparable to Norfolk.
I think it'll be about like that. Yeah, they don't have the talent Norfolk does, but they do basically the same thing. And 3-2 is a pretty good record for Fremont, considering the past.
Right. Yeah, and they beat North Platte 47-0 last weekend.
Yes.
So they're coming off a big win.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings traveled again on Friday, lost out at Gering. The final score there, 24-17, I believe it was.
Yes.
And Ryan Hipke, 17 catches for 179 yards. Terrific effort. Scotts Bluff comes in this weekend. The Vikings, who are now 1-4, they have that backloaded district where they haven't played a district game yet.
No.
But and it's a tough Scotts Bluff team. They're 2-2 on the season. Lost to Aurora. Took them right to the limit.
Oh, yeah, I listened to that game on the radio during our rain delay up there in Carroll, and it was 21-7, and I really didn't think Aurora was going to come back, and lo and behold, they came back and did it. But Scotts Bluff is a good football team.
Good football team. So I think this is going to be a terrific matchup, and you don't want the season to get away from you. And Coach Kevin Steins, I'm sure, is really thinking about that, especially heading into, because eventually you're going to get to a district game.
Yep.
Not this weekend, but you're eventually going to get there, and you get Aurora, York, and Columbus. So, still 0-0 on the district scores for Northwest, but they're going to try to right the ship here Friday night against the Bearcats from Scotts Bluff. Central Catholic is heading to Gibbon.
Mm-hmm.
Nice Gibbon team. They're 2-2 on the season. Played Adams Central tough on Friday. 28-17, I think, was the final.
Yeah.
What do you think of that ball game, Bob?
Well, I think it's going to be better than people are predicting it will be, because Mark McLaughlin has a young team at Gibbon, but that performance against Adams Central surprised him even, and Gibbon's playing pretty good football. So Central Catholic will have a tussle on their hands. Their crowd is really into it at Gibbon, so it should be a great football game.
That'd be a fun game. So Central Catholic heads to Gibbon on Friday night. Heartland Lutheran, I looked at the 4 teams they've played. Their record this 15-3.
Isn't that something?
They were just really, Geltner beat them 69-0, but they get a little bit of a break here. They're playing 2-2 Pleasanton.
That might be the one they want. This season they could win,
and they have them at home, so it's a game that the Red Hornets can win, and they really have gotten off that track. I checked the points. Interestingly enough, in their 6-team district, they are 3rd.
I wouldn't
without
doubt
a win, because they have played such difficult competition.
That you can't argue.
Yeah, and there are teams that have wins that are below them in PowerPoint.
Isn't that something?
Pretty amazing.
So what one win would do for that team would be amazing.
Yeah, so pretty amazing statistics. So that's what's on tap locally and results from last Friday. We'll be back in the second half of the show. We're going to pick a player of the week, and we're going to talk a little bit about wild card points and what they mean. For End Zone Online and theindependent.com, I'm George Ayoub. We'll see you in just a minute.
Do you want to trade in your used fitness or sports equipment? How about sports apparel? All your answers are at Play It Again Sports in Grand Island, where you can trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.
All right, we are back, End Zone Online. George Ayoub with Bobby Mills. Thanks to our friends at Play It Again Sports for that message and for sponsoring our show. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about wild card points here, Bobby. obviously, you know, we're in the middle of the season, 5 games in for the teams that had the 0-week game, and you know, you start to kind of see what's happening here. Of course, the points are not only who you play and win or lose against, but also who they play and win or lose against. So right now, I just checked this morning, Grand Island, who's 4-1, unrated in Stu's top 10, which is a Metro-only group this week, is tied with a group of 5 other teams, second in wild card points. Norfolk is right up there, another outstate team. So, you know, Class A really looks, West Side's leading the pack, but, you know, an undefeated Omaha North team is down, tied with the Islanders.
Right, and that's, you know, the first 4 games were very weak, and now they'll get into the meat of their schedule, but never anything extremely, you know, Burke this week, but, and Norfolk has played a tough schedule.
They have.
But Grand Island is in just where they want to be, is that position.
An interesting thing, too, and I visited with some Grand Island football observers, and they were saying, you know, you get the win and you get up to 42.5 points, but if you look at your schedule the rest of the way, you can't really, it's hard to gain points when you play teams that have losing records, and the teams that they've played have losing records. So it really becomes a numbers game if you're looking to try to get over that, get that 8th spot and don't fall in the 9th and host an opening round game.
That's why every game is important.
It really is.
District or not.
Yeah, it really is important, and it's you know, a game by 2 teams you don't think are connected to anything that you do could really mean something for you. Just checking, Aurora and in Class B, and Boone Central and Newman Grove in Class C1 are both leading the pack in their respective classes with the power points.
And they both have tough schedules once again, and they just consider every game important to get that high seed in the playoffs.
Right, and you know, Boone Central, we've talked about, you know, their early season road was really tough.
Right,
and they did well. They went right through it. They undefeated, and of course, you know, they're way up on the power points.
Yeah, they don't have to worry too much, but they've got Lakeview coming, and I'm sure they want to win that one too.
That'll be a big game. Just you know, Sutton is second. Donovan Trumbull 9th. Hastings St. Cecilia 11th. That's in D2. Big game for Sutton and Donovan Trumbull this weekend.
Now, is that next weekend? Does St. Cecilia play Sutton?
I'm sorry, it's St. Cecilia. I apologize.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
It is St. Cecilia and Sutton this
weekend.
And
it is big.
It's a big game. You know, those 3 teams in C2 are certainly. So, you know, power points will change dramatically.
They will.
With that. And, of course, Fullerton and Shelton, you know, Fullerton and Shelton played already. Shelton wins the game. Fullerton has better power points.
Yeah, they've had a tough schedule.
And they, again, had a tough schedule. So if you look on the NSAA website, I almost said NCAA there, please. If you look on the NSAA website, you know, sometimes it's curious if you look at the points and then the records. Sometimes it doesn't match up. By the end of the season, that kind of all catches up. So it's kind of fun. And, you know, the last week of the season, there's a lot of people with calculators and, you know, schedules.
And none of them know.
Yeah, and you don't know. You don't know. You just got to play it out to the end. So it's time for us to pick a player of the week, and he's going to school right behind us here. Bobby, you want to talk about Ryan Hipke?
Ryan Hipke. What do you say, George? 17 catches against Gearing for 179 yards. I don't remember a player in the past couple of years in Class B anyway having that many catches in one game, even with this great team last year. And that puts him up, 3rd in the state behind those 2 Bell West receivers for yards. That's a half a season for some kids who don't catch many passes.
It really is. What a game. And, you know, unfortunately the Vikings came out on the short end there, but we're going to get a framed certificate to Ryan for his performance on Friday night. 17 catches, 179 yards. Ryan Hipke is our player of the week on End Zone Online. So, where are you headed this weekend?
Well, I might take in a triple header at Seacrest in Lincoln. I haven't seen too many Lincoln teams. Norfolk and Southeast is a big one.
That'll be a big one.
And then those Lincoln teams just keep beating on each other. Southwest is playing, Lincoln Pius is playing Lincoln East, and Northeast and Southwest meet, and that seems to be a big rivalry. I don't know why it hasn't been going on that long, but they think it is. So anything can happen.
Right.
And I just wanted to say one thing about Southwest. They're improving each week, and Grand Island beat that team.
Right.
So that's a big win for the Islanders.
Big bonus win early on because they are playing good. And Lincoln East is also
they're not that bad.
Improving. So some good teams coming out of the capital city.
Yep.
Grand Island plays North Star later in the season,
Yep.
and so I don't think we're covering that game, but that's a big district game too. So
do you think Grand Island can win the rest of the season?
I do. I think they
too.
can win out. I think they have a really good chance to be 8-1 going into the playoffs.
As you pointed out, North Star will be the biggest test.
That'll be the biggest test. So we will be back next week, talk more high school football. For Bobby Mills, I'm George Ayoub. This has been End Zone Online, brought to you by Play It Again Sports, and we are on theindependent.com.
Golf, baseball, softball, fitness, soccer, you name it, Play It Again Sports in Grand Island has got it. Stop by to buy, sell, or trade used fitness equipment. Trade in and trade up at Play It Again Sports.